Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen, and today we're painting these really sweet, pretty, delicate daisies using one brush, the Filbert brush. This is a number 8 Princeton Velvet Touch Series Filbert brush. It makes these beautiful flowers and leaves, and it's super easy. I'm telling you, a beginner can do it. I just show you how to maneuver it. We're going to be using watercolor and gouache, just white gouache. Can create this whole entire look. Also, if you haven't hit the bell notification button, please hit that so you know my tutorial's up. And if you are a Patreon member, you can check out this week's past exclusive tutorial, which is a bird house with a bird and flowers. If you're not a Patreon member, hit that little button link right there to go join. It's a place people can go and support my channel. I have ad-free videos, traceables, and exclusive tutorials on Thursdays. So yeah, it's just a place people go and support my channel, which I appreciate very much. So without further ado, let's get painting. Okay, so I'm going to go over my supplies. I have like a 7-inch square piece of arch, 100% cotton cold pressed paper. I just taped it down to cardboard. I'm only taping it down so it doesn't buckle as I'm painting it. We're going to be using the Filbert brush. I have a number 8 Filbert Princeton brush, nice small brush. It's in the Velvet Touch series. Water jars, paper towels, and paints, and I go over those when I use them. And I did like initial practice to see how I would like to paint it. So this is like, again, this is a practice painting watercolor, tutorial. We're not sketching anything. We're not going to be having any downloads on my for if you're a Patreon member sketching. It's basically just practicing with the brush, okay? And I just did my practice earlier, so now I'm going to show you how I kind of created that kind of fun look. I'm just going to grab this grumbacher golden edge, like round 3/4 inch brush. You grab whatever you have. I'm going to make that pretty turquoisey color, so I have my peacock blue here. Mix up a fair amount. I'll clean up my brush, and I'll grab some of that cadmium yellow deep. See, it's a green, but I got some more blue. So you get this turquoisey kind of color. And I have that brown, which is the burnt umber next to it. Now it probably won't come out exactly the same as the other one, but close enough. So I'm going to grab some more blue. You want to mix up a lot of this paint. And pretty watery, as you can see. And if you have scrap, I have a scrap piece here. I can just see if I'm going to create the same kind of color. Looks about the same. I want to add more water or more blue. You'll get around the same color. I'll add a little more blue. Okay, so I'm going to water this down. And this basically really just simply, I don't even want it to go to the edge. I want that rustic, sketchy kind of edge look. You don't have to paint to the edge every time you're painting something. That's why I show you those vignettes. It's just another, see, this is why you need a lot of this color, because this paper is like a sponge. It soaks it up. It's good and bad that way. If you want to do a lot of wet on wet, that's the whole point. And as the green's kind of flat, I might go in and grab some of this brown and throw that color in while it's still wet. Just to, get the colors a little different. And maybe some blue too. You don't want it all this monotone green. I like the variety of throwing in some of this brown. This is the burnt umber. So some parts of the turquoise area are just a little bit different in color tone. You see? Now we are going to have to wait till this whole thing kind of dries, because otherwise it just won't work. Again, while I'm still wet, I might make a little bit darker color here. You want a variety. Variety is a spice of life, as they say, right? So there. So now I'm going to let this whole thing dry, and then we're going to come back and we're going to play around with the Filbert brush. So really it's a Filbert brush tutorial. The other brush is just to wash down that first initial color. And you didn't have to do turquoise. If you want to do another color background that's browns, blacks, whatever you want to do. I mean, grays would be pretty too. Play around with it. This is the whole point. It's the practice. So again, we're going to let this dry and then we're going to come back. All right, so it's dry. Now, one thing I didn't mention, but it's going to be always in the description box. You need white gouache for this. You have to have white gouache. You could try the white watercolor, but I don't think it's going to kind of work the same way because gouache is opaque, right? And I use the water-based gouache. I just put it over here in my messy part of my palette. So I have the Filbert brush, right? Number 8. And you're just going to use this brush to your advantage. I'm going to get it pretty, a little bit of water on the gouache, you see, like that. Just grabbing some water. So obviously when you put water, because it's water, it's based, it's going to have more of a translucent quality to it. Going to zoom in a little bit more. As opposed to the thickness of just the plain old, look at that, I got on my finger. So the Filbert brush is going to do all the work for you just by maneuvering the brush, right? We'll start off going like this on its side, like you're going to draw. So here's the flat part, turn it on its side. You're going to make those little marks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you're going to turn it on its side like this, flat, and go, whoop, look at that. Oh my God, you've made a daisy. Seriously, guys, this is what you do. You maneuver the brush. Again, this way, turn it. Made another open daisy, right? Now I'm going to water this down a little bit more. What happens when you water the the water, excuse me, I cannot even think today. If you water down the gouache, it becomes a little translucent, so some of the color underneath shows through. And then later on, you can add in a thicker gouache for the highlight to make it not so translucent. So I'm going to put another mark here, sideways. This is what I want you guys to do. We're going to play around. See, I'm adding these marks just like this. Boop, boop, boop. And you got these pretty daisies. Boop, boop, boop. Just dapping it down, just like that, just with this brush. You're going to do, when you're painting a composition, and I'm just winging it right now with you guys, think in terms of how you want it. You want a cluster on the bottom and little sprays on top. You want it, I kind of just did a whole sporadic one like this, and it still looks pretty. So you want to play around with that. This one, I want to do a little more clusters on the bottom here. Maybe a little half one there. More over here. Boop, boop. And I didn't have, see when you do the side, like I did before, you get those pretty little petals, like a real daisy petal. Now see, they've kind of dried where you can't see them. That's kind of the beautiful thing. Then you can grab some of the thick gouache and highlight it too. It's like a little combination. See, you can go back over it. And I'm just going to do a few more, and then we're going to start put some greens in, and then we'll add more. See? Just have them kind of concentrated in this area. I'll put maybe like one out here right now. A little thicker with the paint, less water. I can go back in. I can go back on top of it too. If you think it just washed out too much. It's a combination of the two. Real kind of translucent and not kind of translucent. It's like a little highlight. All right, at this point, I'm going to flip my little pan. Hear my noise clanking my cleaning my brush. So we're going to make some greens. Use the same peacock green. Peacock blue. Oh my God. Sorry guys, it must be COVID because I have no brain cells left. And grab the yellow. Again, we have that bright green, and then I always grab some of this brown burnt umber, or you can grab some magenta if you don't have burnt umber. Just kind of dull it down a little bit. If you want to grab some Prussian blue, it'll make it a little bit darker. It's kind of like an olive green. And I'm going to water this down just a bit, and I always tap it on my paper towel. Now, we'll do a little mark to see if we like the color, right? Because it's going to look different on top of this. And I'm just going to hold the brush and do this like maneuver like this. Watch. Twist. And then I'll add little marks like this to the leaf. So I kind of like it. Maybe I'll add a little more blue. So I'll add a little more peacock. I kind of want to keep it a little bluer. And I'm going to water it down more. You water it down more, it's going to be a little bit lighter. All right, so water down more. Again, I'll tap on paper towel, and then I'll play around with the color. Yeah, pretty, still bright. Maybe it needs a little brown. So you're going to keep playing around until you get the color that you like. I think I kind of made the same color, right? Alamo yellow. But, so now you take this brush, and you're going to use it the same way, like different ways. So I'm going to go like this, up and over and down on the skinny side. This one, I'll just kind of go straight down. This one, I could do an up and over, down too. Boop. And then you take the brush. You can kind of hold it on a side like this, and then push down to make a leaf petal. Push down and then twist it like that. You can go back in and just maneuver some little marks too with this brush. See, it's like a whole twisting kind of movement. Twist it, twist it, twist it. You're twisting it and you're pulling it up. Twist it, twist and pull up. That's how you play. You can also do these really cool marks like this. And look at that. Right? You guys need to practice with the brushes and to have a variety of brushes. I mean, I use the Princeton 8 long round and 4 a lot, but once in a while I like to play. And this one makes perfect little daisies, perfect little like forget-me-nots and little teeny petals and leaves. So it's fun to play. So see, the white has kind of washed out a little too much. We'll go back in with the gouache again. So I'm just making these little marks, twisting the leaves. And now I'm going to go grab more brown. Maybe grab a little orange or something. Just, I want a brown tone. I'm going to dab it on the paper towel. I don't want it too dark. And I'm just going to wing around like this. Like a little branch. If I add a little Prussian blue to that, it becomes a little different color. See? So we're adding different colors in here. Brown. Just like that. Now you see that white got too translucent. You can go back over with that white. Kind of make the same marks with less water, and you really can see the daisy marks. That one's really concentrated. If you don't have any yellow gouache, you can just take your white gouache and mix it with your yellow watercolor. So I'm just going back in some of the areas that were, I felt just dried, too light. And I don't want to do that. And you can put little ones over here, and you can add another color. It doesn't have to be all this pretty white and turquoise. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about with the yellow and the white. This kind of yellow has too much green in it, but here's that yellow. I might add a little magenta to it to make it a little bit yellow orange. And grab a touch of just a teeny bit of this white, teeny weeny bit, right? So then it becomes like an opaque color. And then boom. We're filling in the yellow so it goes above. Otherwise, it's going to go on that color and kind of look green because it's watercolor. It'll be more translucent. But we want it more opaque. Just filling that in like that. Put a little one here, a little one there, and a big one here. You can add a little orange to that if you want to use. See? Just a little highlight of orange on the side. It's so coming alive, right? See how simple that was? Again with this brush, and I might grab this yellow color we mixed and grab some of that green. Grab some peacock blue and some yellow. Not quite making the green that I'm looking for. I'm looking for more of a limey kind of green. There we go. With a hint of, so then I can make little teeny leaves. Boop, boop, boop. See? On its side, pushing down like that. Boop, boop. Got some water there. But you see? Look how cute. Just little leaves. Variety. It's the spice of life. So that branch will have different leaves than the other one. At this point you're assessing, like, what do you want down here? Maybe I'll take that green and really kind of put some nice pretty petals. Brighten it up a little bit in between the daisies. But this is what we're doing. We're going to just play around with the brush. I might add some darker. We're going to add some darker greens. So I have the Prussian blue with the yellow and a little burnt umber. Much darker green, right? Like I said, you can keep it all in those colors, but then what happens when you stick that nice dark color in between those pretty daisies? It just pops them. You could keep it all soft and pretty like this, or you can just knock it out a little more. I'm going to add some more of this Prussian blue with this dark green, right? It's just going to change the element a little bit. And see, I'm just twisting the brush to make those leaves. I am kind of keeping it a cluster here and little ditsies up that way. And that is intentional. I'm going to add a little more brown. See? Kind of like twigs coming down here. I want to see what you guys do. I want to see if you guys can just take the brush and have fun with it. Now we've got that dark green. I'm going to put this little, and it can come out of that space too, by the way. Doesn't have to stay in one of the lines. You guys gotta learn to play with all of this when you're doing composition. Don't stay within the lines, and you can do some like little marks over here. See how that dark just really popped out those flowers? If you really want to get intentional, sticking it in between like that so it really highlights the petals, you can do that, but not necessary. And because you've already mixed, clean this up again, we talked about taking the yellow right here and a little bit of the gouache, right? Maybe adding a little magenta. You can go ahead and put little yellow flowers coming off that one. I mean, the possibilities are endless. All you need is the white gouache, right? You could mix the white gouache with any one of your watercolors and do the same kind of technique. I might go back in here and make this a little bit more opaque. You see how you can play around with that? Grab the orange. I have brilliant orange. Same thing. See? Add some orange. I'm just changing this. I add a little bit of orange flowers. And I'm just tapping it. See? I didn't do anything special. I just created another whole look. You didn't have to do orange. You could have added purple, whatever. Just play around. All you need is that white gouache if you don't have a bunch of gouache, but I have a bunch of gouache. I'd like to start doing some more gouache tutorials. So I have gouache links in my description box if you want to purchase some gouache. They're from Amazon. I get a small fee from that, but nothing that probably pays for a coffee. But just links for that. You can also just go on Jerry's Autorama or Dick Blick and get gouache there. I buy a lot of stuff from Jerry's Autorama. See, I'm making some more leaves. I do want to put another dark one. That green, the brown. I feel like I want something out here. And maybe I'll mess it up. And you'll say, why did you do that? I'm going to go back over that stem and make something come out of here. Just a delicate twig. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just consciously overworking it. That happens to the best of us. So let me see. I like to stand up and look at my design. I'll scroll back in here, see if I like it. Yeah, looking kind of cute, right? Yeah, just a little cluster. I might go back in and add a little few more white daisies. Sometimes going back and forth between the two, painting the daisies and then painting the leaves helps you as well. Put a little half one here. See, holding on its side, do those little. You don't have to be all like the flat, roundy, cutie little daisies. It could be all on the side like this too. Just feel like it needed something down there. And I'll go back in and grab my yellow and fill that in. And it doesn't need to have more leaves or whatever. Can just leave it simple. Come back in and add some leaves here. See, now we've got the gouache mixed in with all my colors. That happens. If you want to go in and take a small teeny brush besides this one and do some details, go ahead. There are no rules. Just gonna put that one lone leaf like that. Just twisting it. Twist in the knife and just pull out like that and you get that sharp point. That's kind of how that works. Twist and pull out. And that's pretty much that. I might go in and add a couple more dark colors in here. Again, just to highlight the pretty flower. You just do little marks here. But I wouldn't get bogged down in all of that. It's a practice just to make these pretty delicate flowers. I think it came out great, right? Take off this noisy tape. It's gonna be noisy. Noisy. Very noisy. Sorry, guys. But look how pretty that is, right? Didn't take much effort at all. That's the whole beauty of some of these brushes. So I hope you guys enjoy this watercolor flower practice with the Filbert brush. It's a really great one to have in your repertoire of brushes. I don't think this is expensive at all because this is a small one, this is number 8. Play around with just moving it around and you get these cute little petals. So take care, guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. And also, please don't forget to check out my Patreon like I showed you before. I have exclusive tutorials there on Thursday. This past week I had this one. Really cute birdhouse. So check it out. The link is in the description box and on my about page. So take care, guys. Have a great weekend and I'll speak to you soon.